Out here, in the forgotten corners of the Wild West, stories are carried on the wind. Some are harmless. Some are warnings. And some are dangerous enough to bury entire towns. This is one of those stories. A tale about a man who rode with no sound. A man who left no tracks. A man who carried 100 secrets inside him. Each one darker than the last. Folks called him the Silent Rider. They didn't know his real name. They didn't know his past. They only knew this. Wherever he went, trouble followed. And when he arrived in Black Hollow, the entire town's fate changed forever. Wyoming Territory. Autumn, 1884. The evening sun hovered low, bleeding red into the vast empty plains. A cold wind moved through the grass like fingers searching for something lost centuries ago. Then came the sound of hooves. Slow. Steady. Heavy. A lone rider appeared along the ridge, a silhouette carved sharply against the dying sun. His horse was a black stallion with eyes like coal. His coat was long, dust-stained, torn at the edges. His hat shadowed his eyes completely. And he said nothing. Not a word. Not a greeting. He simply rode. Into Black Hollow. A town so small, dust was more common than people. A town where the only things thriving were rumors and regrets. When the stranger reached the main street, the townsfolk stopped what they were doing. Hammers paused mid-strike. Poker players froze with cards halfway in the air. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Old Martha Briggs, owner of the Dust Lantern Saloon, leaned on her doorway and squinted. Well now, look who the wind dragged in. A ghost, or a man who wishes he were one. The stranger didn't look up. He didn't acknowledge anyone. He tied his horse, walked into the saloon, and sat in a dark corner. Martha approached him. "What'll it be, mister?" Silence. He placed a silver coin on the counter. It wasn't American. It wasn't Mexican. It wasn't anything anyone had seen before. It was old. Foreign. Etched with symbols that made Martha's stomach twist. She poured whiskey. He took the glass without a word. That's when Edwin Price, a ranch hand with more bravado than sense, whispered to a friend. Men who ride alone and don't speak, they're running from something not. Martha cut him a sharp glare. Or chasing something worse. The saloon fell into uneasy silence. The stranger drank slowly, as if tasting memories rather than whiskey. Then the door opened again. But this time, it wasn't a rider. It was a boy. Maybe 16, maybe 17. Dust on his clothes. Sadness in his eyes. His name was Caleb Whitmore. He scanned the room. Stopped. And walked straight to the stranger. People stared. Caleb's voice shook as he spoke. "Sir, I've been looking for you." The stranger didn't respond. The boy swallowed hard. "My father. Sheriff Thomas Whitmore, he left me a message before he died." The room held its breath. Caleb continued. He said, "Find the man who carries the 100 secrets. He'll finish what I couldn't." The stranger froze. Caleb stepped closer. "I think that man is you." For the first time, the stranger lifted his head. And the entire saloon felt a chill. His eyes were sharp. Tired. Broken. And full of ghosts. He finally spoke. A whisper. Barely audible. "They found you." Caleb blinked. "Who?" The stranger stood. The saloon floorboards creaked. Outside, the sound of horses approached. Fast. Many. Martha peeked out the window. Her face turned white. Oh Lord, the Crow brothers. A name that sucked the warmth out of the room. Everyone knew the Crow gang. Everyone feared them. And now they were here. Because of the Silent Rider. The saloon doors swung open. 4 men entered. Tall. Angry. Dead-eyed. At their center, Jasper Crow, leader of the Crow brothers. Wanted in 3 states. A killer raised by killers. He grinned when he saw the silent rider. Well. Elias Mercer. A shockwave moved through the saloon. Elias Mercer. The silent rider, had a name? Jasper tilted his head. You didn't think you could hide forever, did ya? Elias didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't speak. Jasper chuckled. You still don't talk much. But that's all right. I remember your voice fine. He pointed at Caleb. And that boy, he shouldn't be here. His daddy should have died alone. You made things messy. Caleb flinched. Martha gasped. You animals killed Sheriff Whitmore. Jasper shrugged. A lawman poking his nose where it didn't belong. He leaned in toward Elias. You were supposed to die too, old friend. Old friend? The entire saloon murmured. Jasper gestured to Elias's left arm. Show him the mark. Elias didn't move. So Jasper grabbed his sleeve and yanked it up, revealing a burned-in brand. The Crow brand. An outlaw's brand. The room spiraled into shocked whispers. See? Jasper smirked. He used to ride with us. Before he betrayed us. Before he tried to play hero. Elias finally spoke. A low rumble. You murdered an innocent man. Jasper's smile faded. No, Elias. You did. Gasps. Elias's jaw clenched. Jasper leaned closer. You dragged Whitmore into our business. You led him to us. You got him killed. Caleb's eyes filled. No, that's not true. Jasper shrugged. Believe what you want, boy. But your daddy trusted the wrong man. Before Elias could speak, a gunshot blasted through the window. Everyone dropped. Jasper cursed. They're here already. Damn it. Martha cried out. Who's here? Elias answered quietly. The mercenaries. The sound of galloping thundered outside. Not 4 riders. Not 10. Dozens. The deadliest hired killers west of the Mississippi. The Blackthorn mercenaries. Men who never asked why. Only how much. Caleb panicked. Why are they after you? Elias didn't answer. Not yet. But Jasper did. Because the governor wants him dead. Martha froze. Governor? Governor who? Elias whispered. Malcolm Drayton. Caleb's eyes widened. The governor ordered my father's death? Elias nodded slowly. And mine. The saloon erupted into chaos as mercenaries opened fire. Glass shattered. Dust rose. People screamed. Elias grabbed Caleb. Stay behind me. Abigail Kane, Black Hollow's interim sheriff, burst through the back door. Fiery eyes. Rifle in hand. Everyone down. Mercenaries are surrounding the town. Jasper laughed. It's a party, then. But Abigail pointed her gun at him. You shut your damn mouth. Elias stepped forward. We need to move. We can't stay here. Abigail hesitated only a second before nodding. Then she asked the question burning inside her. Why are mercenaries hunting you? Elias looked at her. Then at Caleb. Then at the burning sky outside. And he said. Because I know the truth that Sheriff Whitmore died for. They ran through the back alley as bullets tore the saloon to pieces. Abigail led Elias and Caleb across the street toward the sheriff's office. Behind them, the Crow gang scrambled and exchanged fire with the mercenaries. People hid. Screamed. Prayed. Caleb shouted over the gunfire. What truth? Tell me. Elias kept running. He found out the governor was working with outlaws. Caleb stumbled. With the crows? No, Elias said. Worse. They crashed into the sheriff's office. Abigail barred the door. Elias continued. The governor hired mercenaries and gangs to wipe out towns he wanted to control. Land he wanted. Railways he planned to seize. And anyone who got in his way. His eyes darkened. Died. Abigail's hands shook. My predecessor. Thomas Whitmore, he tried to stop this? Elias nodded. He gathered evidence. He trusted me with it. Evidence that could destroy the governor. Caleb swallowed. You told me you carry 100 secrets. Elias knelt, gripping the boy's shoulder. I carry 100 of your father's notes. Codes. Letters. Witness accounts. Caleb's eyes widened. And you carry them because... Elias hesitated. Then spoke. Because your father knew he wouldn't survive. And he chose me to finish what he started. Caleb's voice cracked. He trusted you, even after the crows marked you. He knew the truth, Elias whispered. That the crows branded me because I refused to join them. Because I tried to stop them. Because your father believed in me when no one else would. Caleb wiped his eyes. Then, a loud crash. The back wall shook. Abigail grabbed her rifle. They're breaking through. Elias stood tall. We stand our ground. And the final, bloody chapter of Black Hollow began. Elijah Crow didn't sleep that night. He sat by the dying fire behind the livery, hat low, hands still trembling from the words he'd read in Martha Hale's letter. A letter she'd hidden. A letter she never meant for him to find. A letter that carried a truth darker than anything the desert had ever whispered. The page still lay beside him in the sand, edges trembling in the chill wind. If anything happens to me, tell Elijah the truth about what we did. He deserves to know why the world came after him. Martha Hale. He stared at it until the ink blurred. What truth? He whispered, voice cracking like dry wood. What did you do, Martha? He closed his eyes. But her voice wouldn't leave him. Sometimes the people who save us hurt us the most. Dawn crept cold over Dustwater. Elijah hadn't moved an inch when small footsteps approached behind him. Lily Hale, the missing girl who wasn't supposed to be alive. She held a tin mug with both hands and offered it to him. I made coffee. It ain't good. But it's warm. Elijah took it gently. Where's your pa? He asked. She hesitated. The kind of hesitation that hid something bigger than fear. He's around. Elijah narrowed his eyes. Lily, where did you go last night? She looked away. I followed you. That hit him harder than a bullet. Why? Because you're the only one who ain't scared of him. Scared of who? She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed to the folded paper beside him. You read it. He nodded. And it broke you, didn't it? She whispered. Elijah didn't speak. Good, she said quietly. Because broken men are the only ones willing to finally tell the truth. He froze. Lily, what truth are we talking about? She took a shaky breath. The truth about the night you were blamed for burning Willow Creek. The desert wind died. The world went still. Elijah looked at her sharply, eyes blazing with something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. How do you know about Willow Creek? He asked. Lily stepped back. Because, she whispered, my mother was there. Elijah didn't want to remember it. Didn't want to breathe it. Didn't want to live it again. But the memories came. They always came when someone said Willow Creek. The fire. The screams. The smoke that swallowed the moon. The bodies that no one deserved to die the way they had. And the worst part. His own hands, covered in soot and blood, as townsfolk dragged him into the dirt shouting. Murderer. Arsonist. Devil. He could still hear the crack of the judge's gavel as they sentenced him to die at dawn. But dawn never came for Elijah Crow. Something else did. Gunshots. 3 shadowed men. A broken cell door. A whispered command. Run, Elijah. Run and never speak. He had never learned who freed him, nor why. Until now. He looked Lily straight in the eyes. Your mother was in Willow Creek the night it burned? Lily nodded. She wasn't supposed to be. She went there looking for someone. Someone she called the key to all of this. All of what? The people hunting you. A chill threaded down Elijah's spine. Why would Martha look for someone tied to me? Lily swallowed. Because she wasn't looking for you. Elijah tensed. She was looking for the other man who survived Willow Creek. He stared at her. There was no other man. Lily's voice shook. Yes, there was. And he's here, Elijah. She pointed toward the town. In Dustwater. Elijah rose to his feet slowly. The town felt different now. Like every shadow held a face he should have recognized. Who is he? Elijah demanded. Lily took a step back, frightened by the sudden fire in his voice. I don't know his name, she said quickly. But I know what my mother called him. Elijah leaned in. She called him. Lily's voice lowered, barely a whisper. The Firebird. Elijah froze. The name struck him harder than a horse kick. Nobody in the West used that word unless they knew the truth. Unless they knew the symbol carved on the bodies found in Willow Creek. Unless they knew the mark that had been left on the sheriff's door the night before the fire. A bird with burning wings. A warning. A signature. A promise. Only one group used it. The Firebird Vigilance Society. A secret circle of so-called justice keepers who killed quietly, burned evidence, and erased sins in the name of a twisted justice. Elijah's blood ran cold. You're telling me, he said slowly, one of the people who destroyed Willow Creek, is here in Dustwater? Lily nodded. And he's been watching you. The sheriff's office was quiet when Elijah entered. Sheriff Amos Burke sat at his desk, polishing a gold pocket watch. His badge gleamed in the lamplight. Elijah, the sheriff said without looking at him. Rough night? I need answers, Elijah said. Burke sighed. I figured you'd come ask. You knew Martha had secrets, Elijah said. Did you know someone from Willow Creek was here? The sheriff's face changed, subtly, but enough. Elijah, he said carefully, Dustwater has plenty of ghosts. Not all of them wear chains. Who is he? Don't. I said, who is he? Sheriff Burke finally lifted his eyes, and they weren't sheriff eyes anymore. They were warning eyes. Elijah, there are things older than this town. Older than the badge I wear. Older than the law itself. His name, Elijah growled. Burke stood. He hesitated, then rolled up his sleeve. A symbol burned into his skin. A bird with wings of flame. Elijah stumbled back. No, you? Burke nodded. I was one of them. Silence detonated like dynamite. Elijah could barely breathe. You were a Firebird? Was, Burke said sharply. Not anymore. Elijah's voice shook with fury. You burned Willow Creek. No, Burke said, deadly calm. But I know who did. The room grew colder. Elijah stepped forward. Tell me his name. The sheriff stared at him with a sadness so deep Elijah almost stepped back. Elijah, you don't want to hunt this man. I ain't asking what I want. I'm asking what's true. Burke whispered. His name is Jonas Blackwell. Elijah felt the world tilt. No, Elijah whispered. Jonas died. I saw his body. Burke shook his head. No, Elijah. You saw what he wanted you to see. Lily Hale ran into the office then, out of breath. They took my father, she cried. Elijah spun. Who took him? Men. 3 of them. Masks. They dragged him toward the mineshafts. Burke shut his pocket watch. Elijah, if Jonas Blackwell is truly here, then that girl's father is already dead. Elijah grabbed him by the shirt. No one dies today. Burke didn't fight back. He simply held Elijah's gaze. Elijah, listen to me. Jonas Blackwell isn't just any man. He was the reason the Firebirds formed. He's the one who burned Willow Creek. Elijah's grip tightened. And why did he spare me? Burke hesitated. Elijah, he didn't spare you. Elijah froze. Burke swallowed. He needed you. Needed me for what? To finish what your father started. Elijah's blood went cold. My father? Burke nodded. Elijah, your father wasn't a rancher. He wasn't a drifter. He wasn't a farmer. He stepped back. He was the founder of the Firebirds. Elijah couldn't move. He built them, Burke continued. Then he betrayed them. Then they killed him. And Jonas, he's been hunting you ever since. Elijah stumbled as though shot. My father started the Firebirds? Burke nodded sadly. And Jonas wants you to finish his work. Silence swallowed the room. Lily grabbed Elijah's sleeve. Please, we need to save my pa. Elijah's jaw tightened. His voice came out low, steady, deadly. We will. He grabbed his gun belt, fastened it tight, and pushed past Burke. Where are you going? The sheriff asked. Elijah didn't look back. To meet a ghost. Night fell hard over Dustwater. Elijah rode fast, Lily behind him, clutching his coat. Sheriff Burke followed reluctantly, muttering curses under his breath. The desert hills parted, revealing the old mineshafts, black wounds carved into the earth. Torches flickered along the cliffs. Lily gasped. There, she pointed. That's them. Figures moved at the mouth of the largest mineshaft. 3 masked men. Lily's father tied to a pole. And behind them, a silhouette. Tall. Calm. Unmoving. Elijah felt the air leave his lungs. Jonas Blackwell. Alive. Waiting. As if he knew Elijah would come. Burke grabbed Elijah's arm. Elijah, he will not fight you fair. Elijah stared at the shadowed figure. I ain't here to fight fair. Jonas Blackwell stepped into the torchlight. Older. Colder. Eyes like polished obsidian, empty, emotionless. Elijah Crow, he said with a calm smile. You grew up nicely. Your father would be proud. Elijah's jaw clenched. You murdered my father. No, Jonas said softly. Your father died trying to correct a mistake. What mistake? Jonas spread his arms. The Firebirds. Burke stiffened. Elijah, Jonas continued, your father created us to bring justice where law failed. But justice became something darker. Something hungry. And Willow Creek? Elijah demanded. Jonas sighed. Your father's last order. He wanted it erased. Elijah shook his head violently. No. No. You burned it. Under his command. You're lying. Jonas smiled. Am I? He stepped closer. Has anyone ever told you why your father was killed? Why the Firebirds fell apart? Why Martha Hale wrote her letter? Elijah didn't answer. Jonas pointed at Lily. Child, tell him what your mother told you before she died. Lily looked terrified. Elijah, she said. Jonas finished for her. She said your father ordered the fire. Elijah staggered back as if struck. She said, Jonas continued, that Martha Hale witnessed it. And that the world hunted you because you were supposed to finish his work. Elijah shook his head, gripping his hair, breath collapsing. No. No. My father wasn't a monster. Jonas smiled sharply. Every monster starts as a hero, Elijah. Then he raised his hand. A gunshot cracked the night. Lily screamed. Burke dove. Elijah didn't move. He just stared at Jonas Blackwell, the man who carried the darkest truth of Elijah's life. And Jonas whispered. Come home, Elijah. Come back to the Firebirds. The echo of Jonas Blackwell's gunshot faded into the cliffs, rolling into the canyon like distant thunder. Dustwater went silent. Elijah Crow didn't flinch. He didn't breathe. He didn't blink. He simply watched Jonas lower the smoking pistol, as calm as a preacher after prayer. Elijah, Jonas said softly, you don't need to be afraid of the truth. But Elijah wasn't afraid. He was furious. What truth? He growled. The torches flickered, casting long shadows behind Jonas, like wings. Firebird wings. Then Elijah heard it. A sharp gasp behind him. He turned. Sheriff Amos Burke staggered backward, clutching his side. Blood poured through his fingers like dark wine. Jonas had shot him, not Elijah. Burke dropped to one knee. Elijah, the sheriff wheezed. Don't trust a word from that man's mouth. Jonas chuckled. Oh, Amos. Always loyal to the wrong side. Elijah rushed to Burke's side, catching him before he fell. Lily screamed and froze, gripping her father's ropes tighter. Elijah pressed his hand against Burke's wound. Stay with me, Sheriff. Burke coughed, blood staining his beard. Elijah, listen. His eyes blurred. He's using your past to chain you. Don't let him do it. Jonas sighed. Elijah, look at him. Even dying, he lies for you. Pitiful. The sheriff tried to speak, but Jonas raised a hand. That's enough heroics, Amos. You had your chance years ago. You abandoned the Firebirds, you abandoned your oath. Burke spat blood into the sand. I abandoned you, Jonas. A gun clicked. Jonas's smile widened. Exactly. Elijah Crow, Jonas continued, tell me something. He took a slow step forward. Why do you think you survived Willow Creek when no one else did? Elijah glared at him, voice low and deadly. Because I wasn't supposed to. Jonas shook his head. Oh no, Elijah. You were very much supposed to. Elijah didn't understand. Jonas folded his hands behind his back, pacing like a teacher explaining a lesson. Your father gave one final order before he died. Elijah's stomach twisted. Jonas pointed a finger toward him. He told us to spare you. Elijah froze. Even the wind dared not move. What did you say? Jonas stepped closer. Your father wanted you alive. Why? Jonas smiled. Because he believed you would finish what he started. Elijah's heart hammered violently. What did he start, Jonas? Tell me. Jonas exhaled like someone tired of stupidity. He started a revolution. Elijah scoffed. My father was no revolutionary. On the contrary, Jonas said. He was the most dangerous kind, one who believed justice should be carved from flesh and flame. Elijah clenched his jaw. Stop lying about my father. Jonas leaned in, whispering. Your father built the Firebirds to bring justice to the West, and then the West resisted. He wanted to burn every town that harbored corruption. Every last one. Elijah shook his head violently. No. My father wasn't a killer. Jonas shrugged. Believe what you want. But he left you one thing. He reached into his coat pocket. A legacy. He dropped something into the dirt. A silver pendant. Shaped like a bird with burning wings. The Firebird insignia. Elijah stared at it. Burke gasped. Elijah, don't pick it up. Elijah didn't move. Jonas smiled. You see? It calls to you. Elijah finally spoke. You said Martha Hale knew everything. Jonas nodded. Oh, she did. And she tried to hide it. Sweet woman. Too gentle for this world. Lily glared at him. You killed her. Jonas raised a brow. No. I didn't. Elijah stiffened. Jonas turned to face Lily. Your mother died trying to protect her own secret. The secret of who she really was. Lily frowned in confusion. My mother was just a schoolteacher. Jonas laughed softly. No, child. She was not. He pointed to Elijah. She was his father's spy. Lily's jaw dropped. What? Elijah froze. What are you talking about? He demanded. Jonas began to circle them slowly, like a wolf. Martha Hale traveled from town to town, gathering information for your father. She warned him which towns were corrupt, which sheriffs were bought, which judges were liars, which men needed cleansing. Lily shook her head. No, you're lying. Jonas smiled. She met your father long before she met your mother. Long before Dustwater. She was his eyes. Elijah's mind reeled. Martha worked for my father? Yes, Jonas said. Until she betrayed him. Betrayed? Jonas nodded sharply. She fell in love with the wrong man. Lily whispered. My father. Jonas's smile widened. Correct. She fell in love with a man who hated everything your father built. She tried to save him. Tried to hide him from us. Elijah stared. Save him, from what? Jonas's eyes gleamed like ice. From the Firebirds. Jonas, Elijah said slowly, what did my father want from Willow Creek? Jonas looked delighted. You truly don't know? No. Then let me enlighten you. He raised his arms toward the dark mineshafts behind him. Your father believed a certain man in Willow Creek betrayed the Firebirds. Elijah's breath caught. A traitor. Jonas nodded. And that man was hiding in Willow Creek with his wife and child. Lily froze. My mother was in Willow Creek, she whispered. Jonas turned to her. Yes. She was there to protect her husband. Elijah felt a chill crawl up his spine. Who was her husband? Elijah asked quietly. Jonas smiled. Lily's father. The world tilted. Lily stumbled back. No. My father wasn't in Willow Creek. Jonas pointed to the tied man near the mineshaft entrance. He was. And he betrayed the Firebirds, years ago. Elijah stared at Lily's father, horror creeping through him. That man, Jonas continued, was the true target of Willow Creek. Not you, Elijah. You were merely a distraction. Elijah felt sick. You framed me. Jonas nodded without remorse. Of course we did. You were the perfect scapegoat. The drifter your father trusted. A boy the town already feared. Elijah clenched his fists. You burned a town to kill one man. Jonas shrugged. Justice is rarely clean. Lily screamed. You liar. My father isn't a criminal. Jonas tilted his head. No, he was a hero. He betrayed the Firebirds because he saw what your grandfather was becoming. Elijah's throat tightened. My grandfather? Jonas smiled coldly. Elijah Crow, you and I both know you didn't grow up with just one father. You had two. Elijah froze. What? Jonas stepped closer. Your father was the founder of the Firebirds. But your grandfather was the man who taught him how to kill. The canyon fell silent. Jonas whispered. Violence runs in your bloodline, Elijah. You were born for it. Then Jonas raised his hand. Bring him forward. Two masked men dragged Lily's father into the torchlight. His face was bruised. Blood streaked his temple. His rope-bound wrists bled from struggling. But when he lifted his eyes and saw Elijah, he whispered, "Son, don't believe him." Elijah's breath stopped. "Son?" Lily gasped. "Pa, what are you saying?" Elijah stepped back, stunned. "What, did you call me?" But Lily's father wasn't looking at him. He was looking at Jonas. "You don't get to rewrite the past, Jonas. Not after what you did." Jonas laughed softly. "Oh, Daniel Hale. You always were dramatic." Elijah turned sharply. "Daniel Hale? That's your name?" Daniel nodded weakly. "And no, your father wasn't who you think he was, Elijah." Jonas scoffed. "Oh please, Daniel. Don't start preaching now." Daniel coughed blood, then looked Elijah straight in the eyes. "Elijah, your father didn't order Willow Creek burned." Jonas stepped forward, gun rising. "That's enough, Daniel." Daniel kept going. He tried to stop the Firebirds. Jonas's face twitched. "Shut up!" Daniel shouted through blood. It was Jonas who burned Willow Creek. The canyon erupted in chaos. Elijah felt frozen. Everything tilted sideways. Daniel Hale's voice came out ragged, broken, but filled with truth. "Elijah, your father broke the Firebirds apart when he discovered Jonas was burning towns without orders." Jonas fired into the air, furious. "Stop talking." Daniel ignored him. "Your father told the Firebirds to disband." Jonas refused. Jonas wanted power. Wanted fear. Wanted control. Jonas aimed the gun. Elijah drew his own gun. Burke struggled to stand. Lily screamed. Daniel shouted. "Your father tried to save Willow Creek, Jonas burned it first." Jonas roared. "Liar." Daniel kept going. "The only reason you survived, Elijah, was because your father carried you out himself." Elijah's heart stopped. Jonas's eyes widened with murderous fury. "That's a lie." Daniel locked eyes with Elijah. "Elijah, your father died saving you. Not commanding Jonas." Silence. Finally, Elijah whispered. "Is that true?" Jonas lifted his gun. "Yes," Daniel whispered. "It is." And Jonas shot him. The gunshot cracked like a whip. Daniel Hale slumped forward, ropes holding him up. "No!" Lily screamed. Elijah's world exploded. He didn't remember drawing his gun. Didn't remember taking aim. He only remembered firing. The bullet struck Jonas's shoulder, spinning him back. The masked men charged. Burke, bleeding and half-conscious, grabbed his rifle and fired wildly. Chaos ignited. Lily rushed to her father. Jonas staggered back, clutching his shoulder, spitting blood. "You ungrateful whelp," he snarled at Elijah. "I tried to give you purpose." Elijah's voice was like gravel. "You murdered my family." Jonas smiled through the pain. "Not yet." He signaled with 2 fingers. More masked men emerged from the dark edges of the cliff. Elijah froze. There were far more of them than he expected. The Firebirds were not dead. They were here. Alive. Waiting. Gunfire erupted across the canyon. Elijah ducked behind a boulder, bullets cracking rock above his head. Burke tried to take cover but stumbled. Elijah grabbed him, dragging him behind an abandoned ore cart. "Stay down," Elijah shouted. Burke coughed blood. "Elijah, you need to run." Not leaving anyone behind, Elijah growled. Another bullet whistled past. Jonas yelled orders, his voice echoing across the canyon. "Elijah is mine. The rest, kill them all." Elijah fired back, dropping 1 masked man. Lily was struggling to cut her father free. "Hold on, Pa. Hold on." Daniel Hale was still alive, but barely. Lily worked frantically at the ropes as bullets tore the air around them. Jonas moved between cover like a demon, bleeding but unstoppable. "Elijah!" Jonas shouted. "Your father tried to stop me, but you could surpass him." Elijah shouted back. "The only thing I'm surpassing tonight is your grave." Jonas laughed, a horrible sound. "Elijah, you still don't understand. You think this is about your father? About Willow Creek? About that letter Martha wrote?" He stepped into the torchlight again, bleeding but triumphant. "No. This is bigger. Much bigger." Elijah kept firing. Jonas didn't flinch. "Elijah," he roared. "You're the only surviving heir to the Firebird line." Elijah froze. "What?" Jonas's eyes blazed with madness. "You carry your grandfather's blood. Your father's mind. And MY teachings. You were made for this." Elijah shook his head in disbelief. "No. I'm nothing like you." Jonas pointed at him with his gun. "You will be." "Never." Jonas smiled. "You don't have a choice." Lily finally cut the ropes. She caught her father as he collapsed into her arms. "Pa. Pa, please don't go." Daniel Hale coughed blood, barely conscious. He reached toward Elijah. "Elijah." Elijah dropped beside him. "I'm here." Daniel's voice was a whisper. "Your father, he tried, so hard, to protect you." Elijah's throat tightened. "I need to know the truth. All of it." Daniel nodded weakly. "The Firebirds needed a leader. Jonas wanted it. Your father refused. He wanted to burn the symbol, and the legacy." He put a shaking hand on Elijah's shoulder. "You must end it. Tonight." Elijah gripped his hand tightly. "You have my word." Daniel smiled faintly. "You are not your father's sins." Then his hand slid free. His chest stilled. Lily screamed, clutching him. "No, Pa, please." Elijah closed Daniel's eyes with trembling fingers. He stood slowly. His shadow stretched across the canyon. Jonas watched him with anticipation. "Elijah," Jonas said softly, "come with me. It's time to become who you were meant to be." Elijah stared at him, eyes cold, dead, burning. "No," Elijah whispered. "It's time to end what you started." The gunfight went silent. Even the Firebirds stopped firing. The world shrank until only two men existed. Elijah Crow. Jonas Blackwell. Jonas spread his arms, blood dripping from his shoulder. "Elijah, we don't need to fight." Elijah holstered his gun. "We do." Jonas smiled. "It doesn't have to end with death." "I know," Elijah said. Jonas raised a brow. "Then how?" Elijah's eyes hardened. "It ends with the truth." Jonas laughed, a deep, echoing sound. "Truth is nothing without power." Elijah stepped forward. "Then let me show you what power really looks like." Jonas grinned. "Very well." He holstered his pistol. "Draw." Silence. Elijah stared at him. Jonas stared back. Both stood perfectly still. Even the wind held its breath. Then, Jonas reached for his gun. Elijah didn't move. Jonas fired. Once. Twice. 3 times. Dust erupted around Elijah's boots. And then Elijah's voice cut the night. "I'm not fighting your war." Jonas froze. Elijah stepped forward again. "You want me to become you. But I won't." Jonas's eyes flared with panic. "Elijah, stop." Elijah closed the distance. Jonas stepped back. "Elijah, don't make me." Elijah reached Jonas, grabbing him by the coat. "You killed my family. You burned my name. You hunted me for years. And you want me to carry your legacy? Jonas trembled. Elijah, please. Jonas Blackwell, Elijah whispered, you can keep your secrets. He threw Jonas to the ground. And I'll bury your legacy tonight. Jonas reached for his gun. Elijah shot it out of his hand. Jonas screamed. Elijah pointed his gun at Jonas's chest. This ends now. Jonas stared up at him, broken, furious, terrified. Elijah, if you kill me, the Firebirds, they won't stop. Elijah reloaded. They will. Jonas gasped. How? Elijah aimed between Jonas's eyes. Because I'm going to kill every last one of them. Jonas's eyes widened. Elijah, don't do this. Elijah paused. Then lowered his gun. Jonas blinked in confusion. You won't kill me? Elijah holstered his weapon. No. Jonas laughed in disbelief. You fool. Mercy is weakness. Elijah grabbed Jonas by the collar. You don't deserve mercy. He dragged Jonas to his feet and threw him toward the Firebirds. But you deserve justice. The other Firebirds lowered their weapons, confused. Elijah raised his voice. Jonas Blackwell is no leader. He's a murderer. He burned Willow Creek. He lied to you. Used you. Betrayed you. The Firebirds looked at each other uneasily. Jonas spat blood. Elijah. You don't understand, they are loyal to me. Elijah stepped back. Are they? The masked men hesitated. Then one whispered. Is it true? Jonas shook his head frantically. No. No, of course not, Elijah is lying, he's always been a liar. But the Firebirds looked unconvinced. One lowered his gun. Another removed his mask. A third dropped Jonas's pendant in the dirt. Elijah, one said carefully, if what you say is true, then what do we do now? Elijah pointed at Jonas. Decide. Jonas screamed. No. No. I made you. One Firebird stepped forward. No, he said calmly. You used us. Jonas's eyes widened in terror. No, please, stop, wait. The Firebirds circled him. Jonas looked at Elijah desperately. Elijah. Help me. Help me. Elijah turned away. Justice is yours. The Firebirds fell upon Jonas like wolves. His screams echoed through the canyon. And then, silence. Lily stood with Elijah, crying silently over her father's body. Burke leaned against a rock, barely conscious. Elijah looked at the dying torchlight. The smoke. The bodies. The blood. How many secrets, Elijah whispered, are left? Burke coughed. Elijah, only one. Elijah turned. What? Burke's voice was faint. You were never meant to die in Willow Creek. Your father, he put you in that town because he thought it would save you. Save me from what? Burke looked up at him. From your own blood. Elijah frowned. My blood? Burke nodded weakly. You were born into violence, Elijah. But your father, he believed you could break the cycle. Elijah froze. Burke whispered. You just did. The remaining Firebirds approached Elijah. One removed his mask. Elijah Crow, he said, what happens to us now? Elijah stared at them. You walk away. They exchanged glances. You end this, Elijah continued. All of it. Take off the masks. Burn the symbol. Never speak the name Firebird again. The man nodded. And if we refuse? Elijah's voice was steel. Then I hunt you. The Firebirds dropped their masks. One tossed his torch into their insignia. Flames rose, consuming the last symbol of their order. It was over. At sunrise, they buried Daniel Hale in the soft red sand overlooking the canyon. Lily cried against Elijah's coat. Burke stood with them, leaning heavily on his rifle. Elijah placed a stone over the fresh grave. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Lily wiped her eyes. "He died trying to protect us. That's what matters." Elijah nodded slowly. "Are you staying in Dustwater?" Burke asked. Elijah shook his head. "No. There's still too much blood on this land." Burke sighed. "I figured." He reached into his coat and handed Elijah something. A folded letter. Elijah blinked. "What's this?" Burke smiled weakly. "Your father wrote it. Gave it to me years ago. Told me to deliver it when the boy becomes a man." Elijah swallowed. He opened the letter. His father's handwriting curled across the page. "Elijah, if you're reading this, I am gone. Break the chain, end the fire, become a man the world does not fear, but follows. Your father." Elijah folded the letter. Put it into his coat. Looked at the sunrise. And breathed, for the first time in decades. Elijah walked to his horse. Lily followed him. "Where will you go?" she asked softly. Elijah mounted up. "Where the world needs someone who ain't afraid of the truth." Lily hesitated. "Elijah, will we ever see you again?" Elijah tipped his hat. "You will." Lily nodded, wiping fresh tears. "Thank you, for everything." Elijah's voice softened. "Take care of your town." He turned his horse toward the open plains. Burke called out, "Crow." Elijah stopped. "You carry 100 secrets," Burke said. "Make sure none of them carry you." Elijah smiled faintly. "They won't." He tugged the reins. And the silent rider rode into the sunrise. A man who buried the firebirds. Avenged the innocent. And carried the last secret of his bloodline. But the West wasn't done with him. Not yet.